What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Belle Collective Season 3, Episode 2, Falling Off a Cliff. So this episode starts off kind of where last week's episode ended, which is Latrice and her friend, what was her friend's name? I forgot her friend's name. Latrice and her girlfriend trying to film a scene at M Bar. And Cliff shows up. He wasn't happy about the fact that Latrice did not tell him that they were going to be going to M Bar, so he gets on her case about that. He berates her, he scolds her, he takes her outside to the parking lot away from the cameras. He thinks that they're not mic'd up, but they are, but then he realizes that they're mic'd up, so he yanks the microphones off of her and throws them on the ground. But you can still hear him because he was talking so damn loud. He was yelling at her in the parking lot. So he's berating her about, not telling him and filming with Josh and don't talk about me behind my back, and just this crazy, just absolutely, we're watching a woman be abused. We're witnessing a woman, a grown woman, be abused by her husband, talking to her as if she's some disobedient toddler. It was just disgusting to watch. And for Latrice to sit there and I understand Latrice is like, I'm just not going to say nothing because if I don't say anything, it's just going to blow over. He's going to eventually, keep quiet, because if she says something, I understand he's going to get more upset. He's going to say something. They're going to be arguing and yelling and shouting at each other, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. So she just has to stand there and take it. And it broke my heart to see a grown woman who's about her business have to sit there and take this man yelling at her. And on camera, he's on a reality TV show. Whether he thought they were still filming or not, he should have enough sense to know that they're on a reality TV show. This was a scheduled filming scene, or recording scene, or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be cameras all over the damn place. There's no way. And y'all, anyway, it's just stupid. So Latrice tells us in her confessional that her mom also went through the same thing, that her mom was also in a controlling, I'm not going to say abusive because I don't know, but let's just say controlling. Her mom was also in a controlling relationship with her father, but her mother believed that marriage was everything. And so Latrice has the same mindset that no matter what, your marriage is important. You got to stay with this man. You have to stay with your controller or your abuser because marriage is important. I don't understand that. If you're not going to stand up to him and put him in his place, then you need to leave the relationship, because I can see why she doesn't want to have children. I think this is the reason why she doesn't want to have children. Not because she doesn't want to ruin her figure and she's too busy with her business. No, she probably doesn't want to bring children into this toxic environment, because what he does to her, he might do to those kids. And she doesn't want to put her children through that. I think that's the best reason to not have kids. So moving on to So Gucci. So Gucci and her husband Jay, they're having snacks together or something. And so Star, which is Jay's son from his ex-wife Selena, and Dee, which is So Gucci's daughter from her previous relationship, they both come over with the grandbaby, because Dee just, she has a little girl. And Star and Dee, I guess, the girls have gotten over their issues with one another, and now they've bonded because they're both are young mothers, and so they probably are relying on each other, giving each other advice, etc., having a real sisterly relationship. Jay tells us that he found out Star was pregnant and married on social media. And I thought that is awful, because from what I remember when I was watching Dancing Dolls, Jay was pretty involved with his children's lives. Even though him and Selena were divorced, he was pretty much involved with his girls' lives. So for him to not know that his daughter was married and pregnant until he saw it on social media, I mean, that says a lot. The fact that they felt like they had to hide this from him. So Jay says that Selena, his ex, is jealous of his current wife, So Gucci, and says that Selena is still in love with him. I don't know about any of that. I have no idea about any of that. I have no comment on that. Jay asks Star why she didn't tell him about her pregnancy and her getting married. And Star tells her dad that she was afraid of what her dad's response was. Now, Jay does seem kind of crazy. He seems like, if his daughter came to him and said that she was pregnant, that he probably would go look for that boy and yank him by his shirt collar and, give him a piece of his mind. So I can kind of understand that, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of major to not tell your dad that you're pregnant and that you had gotten married. But, she tells him, and he seems like, you stole the opportunity for me to walk you down the aisle and, all this other stuff that he missed out on. And I felt really bad for Jay. Because Jay to me seems like someone who probably is going to have a big reaction, but eventually he's going to calm down because he loves his girls. Unless, y'all are trying to tell us that he doesn't really love his children. It seems like he does love his children a lot. And of course, any parent is not going to have the best reaction when they find out that their daughter, I don't know if they're still teenagers or if they're in their 20s, that their daughter is pregnant. And at the time, she was not married yet. So yes, he is going to have a reaction. But if you tell him in the right way, in the right environment, you can kind of contain his reaction. Like, let's say you go to a restaurant and you give him a gift and he opens it up and it says that he's going to be a granddad. Do it like in a really cute way. Maybe that would have softened the blow a little bit. And then especially once he found out that it was a boy, he was going to have a grandson. So, wait until you know the gender, and knowing how much he wants to have some type of a male offspring or male legacy, kind of like, like a little blue outfit, little blue baby outfit with like a little choo-choo train or something. He opens it up and he sees he's going to have a grandson. That would have softened the blow. I feel like there was just more to it than what she said, to be like, oh, I was afraid of I think there was a whole lot more to it, but I don't really know. So I can't really speak on that too much. So Gucci says that Selena, Jay's ex-wife, is turning her daughters, Star, Sky, and Sanjay, against her by telling them that she's going around talking about their mom. So Gucci denies this. She says that she's not talking about Selena in the streets. She's not doing that. From what I remember on Dancing Dolls, Selena was very protective of her girls. And I think she was one of those moms, like if she felt like Coach Diana was a little bit too hard on her daughters, she would get on Coach Diana's case about that. Like, you're riding my daughters too hard. I need you to back off a little bit. And she was really, really pushing the twins to follow in Sanjay's footsteps. I don't know if the twins really wanted to do the whole cheerleading thing or the dance thing, but she was really pushing those twins to follow in Sanjay's footsteps as far as being a dancing doll. And those girls really struggled on that dancing dolls team. Like, they were really not up to par. And if it wasn't for Selena being so pushy, I think Coach Diana probably would have X'd them off of her team. They would not have been dancing dolls, but that's neither here nor there on this show. Tambra. So Tambra is hosting a tailgate for Jackson State University's homecoming. She claims that she invited everyone, but the only one that showed up was So Gucci. So the women say in their confessionals that they did not want to come. They were not feeling Tambra because of all the lies that she told on them last season. So nobody was interested in showing up. And your girl Letitia says that she didn't even get an invitation. And even if she did, she still wouldn't have showed up. So at the tailgate, she introduces So Gucci to her manager, Quasi. And So Gucci tells us that everywhere Tambra is, this guy Quasi is not too far behind. She claims that's her manager, but it seems like he's a little bit more than that. They're a little bit closer than employer-employee relationship. And the big question is, where was her dude, whatever his name is? What's his name? Demond. Where was Demond? That's her man. That's the one that she wanted to procreate with. Like, where the hell was he? Nowhere to be found. Moving on to Jay, Cliff, and Glenn. So they're meeting up on Glenn's property because Glenn and Latrice own this huge piece of hunting property. So they're meeting up there. for some, guy time. And Cliff and Jay talk about the whole situation with Latrice and Soguchi and the building that so Gucci couldn't sell to Latrice. And each one is defending their wife, okay? Jay was like, it was really foul of Latrice to go behind So Gucci's back and close the deal with a whole nother realtor. And Cliff says, it's just business. It's not personal. If So Gucci really wasn't pushing to help Latrice get the building that she wanted and somebody else was willing to push that hard, yeah, Latrice had to go with somebody else. And it's just business. It's no big deal. It's just business. So Cliff shows up. No, Glenn shows up. And he talks about Letitia and how Letitia wants to like move on and get her own place. And the guys tell Glenn, you need to move on too. It's basically a done deal with Letitia. You need to move on too. And then the producers asked Cliff in his confessional, how come he didn't tell the guys about what happened at M Bar? And Cliff says because it was private and the show was just there eavesdropping. Are you serious? Moving on. Latrice. So Latrice and Josh are having a conversation, and basically it's centered around Cliff. And Latrice feels stuck in the middle between her husband and her best friend. And so Josh is like, I don't understand why you're even in this relationship with this man, because he's extremely controlling. And Latrice doesn't see it as him being controlling. She sees her husband as being very protective. So they go back and forth, and then, Latrice tells Josh about what Cliff had said at M Bar about him. And he says some really awful things about Josh. I'm surprised that Cliff would even let Josh stay in his damn home. How did that happen? The only way that I see Cliff allowing Josh to live in his home is if Josh was paying a pretty penny in rent. Other than that, if money is not involved, I don't see how Cliff would have given the green light for Josh to move in with them, because he cannot stand that guy. I don't know. I think it has to be because Josh is paying rent, like really good rent, for Cliff to allow this to go on. So Josh says that, you come to me and you complain about your husband and I try to give you advice, but then you just run back to him when he comes back into the picture, oh, Zaddy this and Zaddy that and my husband. And so Josh is like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm done with it. And Latrice says, well, when I come to you with my problems about my husband, I'm not coming to you for advice. I'm just coming to you to vent. And so Josh is like, you know what? I'm through. Don't come to me no more with your issues with your husband, with your problems with you and Cliff. I don't want to hear it. I am done with it. And I see where he's coming from, because your friend comes to you in crisis and you try to help her, but then she goes right back to the one who's causing the crisis. And so you feel kind of like, what the hell what am I here for? And like, why am I even bothering to feel sorry for her and try to come up with advice to help her if she's going to go right back to her problem? And I can see what Latrice is saying. She's like, I just need to get some stuff off my chest, and I'm coming to you as my friend for you just to listen to me, not necessarily to guide me or advise me. So in a situation like this, if I was Josh, I just would have been like, I would have just make a mental decision in my head. I wouldn't necessarily verbalize it. I would just be like, you know what, from here on out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen. And I know you don't even want to do that because you're just over it. I would just listen to her. If I really loved her as a friend, I would just listen to her. I wouldn't give her any advice, just be like, oh my God, girl, really? He said that to you? He did that? Girl, what are you going to do? And like, leave it at that. No advice, no personal opinions, nothing. Just listen. That's it. And she can do whatever the hell she wants to do with that man. So he says he washes his hands of Latrice and Glenn because no matter how much Latrice vents, she'll always choose Glenn. I mean, not Glenn, Cliff. Did I call that man Glenn? Cliff. She'll always choose Cliff, no matter what. Moving on to So Gucci's Dirty 30. There's not really much to say here. So Gucci had like this exercise event. She invited everybody. Everybody ended up coming. Basically, after they were done exercising, Tambra confronted Marie about not coming to the tailgate. And Marie started to explain herself, like why she didn't want to come to the tailgate. But then Latrice came and joined into the conversation. Well, she didn't join into the conversation. She came to stand by them. So when Marie saw that Latrice was nearby, she walked away. She didn't want to talk in front of Latrice, so she walks away. So then Tambra confronts Letitia about, like, well, why didn't you come to the damn tailgate? And so Letitia says, I didn't come because you gave me no invitation. So Tambra was like, oh, you see, I told So Gucci about it, and So Gucci she was supposed to invite everybody else. And then they showed the clip of Tambra and So Gucci at the radio station where Tambra clearly tells So Gucci, I am going to be inviting everyone. And So Gucci was like, oh, okay, you're going to invite everybody? And Tambra says, yes, I am going to invite everybody. So where in that did you think that it was So Gucci's responsibility to invite all the girls when you clearly said you were going to invite everybody? This is the reason why they call you a liar, Tambra. The truth ain't in you. Moving on to Star's baby shower, which is hosted by Star's mother, Selena. So Gucci sees Latrice there, and she keeps her distance because Selena is friends with a whole bunch of these women that's in the collective. So she invites a lot of, she invited Latrice, she invited Tambra, because, she's friends with these women. So Gucci was like, she walks up to Latrice and she says, I'm surprised to see you here. And Latrice is like, yeah, I'm friends with Selena. Me and Selena, we go way back, whatever the hell she said. So in her confessional, So Gucci criticizes Selena's baby shower. I mean, not her baby shower, but the shower that she planned for her daughter. She criticized it, talking about how the mom and dad were sitting on lawn chairs, whereas her daughter, at the baby shower that she hosted, her daughter was sitting on a throne. And she talked about the decorations and how it was like really low budget, etc., etc., etc. So that right there showed me that there is tension between So Gucci and Selena. The tension is real, and this is probably the reason why the girls never really saw it for each other. So Gucci's daughter and Selena's daughters. And I hate to say this, but Selena kind of seems like the kind of person who would bestow upon her daughters this ideology of light skin being prettier than dark skin. That's how Selena comes across to me. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but that's how she comes across to me. And I can see her, putting those kind of ideologies into her daughters' heads, and then they using it against D, So Gucci's daughter. But anyways, that's last season's issues. But the reason why I think the children never got along with one another is because the moms didn't get along with one another. I think Selena was brainwashing her daughters. I think that So Gucci was probably brainwashing her daughter, and that's why the kids never got along with one another. So Latrice says in her confessional that she believes that So Gucci is jealous of Selena. And she says, in her confessional, well, it's not my problem that your husband is still in love with his ex, meaning that Jay is still in love with Selena. And then she says, them exercises ain't working out for you, girl. Maybe you need to work on your Kegels or something. And I was like, oh my God. Latrice really cannot stand So Gucci. I was like, damn, girl. Wow. So I'm pretty sure as the season continues, we're going to see, the real issues between these two women, because I can see why So Gucci don't see it for Latrice because of the whole real estate situation. But girl, you got your building and you got, what you wanted. So why do you have so much hate towards Latrice? And then Latrice says that she's the one that brought Gucci into this whole collective. So that was your friend. Whatever's going on between you and Gucci, it has to be more than just this whole real estate situation. You need to work on your Kegels. I was like, damn. Oh, child. Anyways, that is my review of the Belle Collective. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.